بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم رب شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام، صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عامي هذا وفي كل عام، واغفر لي تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا علام. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده، الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما. إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير مع حاجة بي إليه عظيمة، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وصفحك عن ظلمي وسترك على قبيح عملي وحلمك عن كثير جرمي عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وأريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستأنسا، لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبطأ عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبطأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك علي. يا ربي إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك، وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك، كأن لي التطول عليك، فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح، ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه، وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح، ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى، تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله، ولا شبيه يشاكله، ولا ظهير يعاضده. قهر بعزته الأعزاء، وتواضع لعظمته العظماء، فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه، ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصيه، ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازيه. فكم من موهبة هنيئة قد أعطاني، وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني، وبهجة مؤنقة قد أراني، فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه، ولا يغلق بابه، ولا يرد سائله، ولا يخيب آمله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويضع المستكبرين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وعمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك، استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله، مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له، أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا، يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به، وانصره وانتصر به، وانصره نصرا عزيزا، وافتح له فتحا يسيرا، واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم أظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك، حتى لا يستخفى بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله، وتذل بها النفاق وأهله، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المن به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، وأعزز به ذلتنا، وأغن به عائلنا، واقض به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وأنجح به طلبتنا، وأنجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، وأعطنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، وأعطنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا، وأذهب به غيظ قلوبنا، واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق. آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. فصل على محمد وآل محمد، وأعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجله، وبضر تكشفه، ونصر تعزه وسلطان حق تظهره ورحمة منك تجللناها وعافية منك تلبسناها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم برحمتك في الصالحين فأدخلنا وفي عليين فارفعنا وبكأس من معين من عين سلسبيل فاسقنا ومن الحور العين برحمتك فزوجنا ومن الولدان المخلدين كأنهم لؤلؤ مكنون فأخدمنا ومن ثمار الجنة ولحوم الطير فأطعمنا ومن ثياب السندس والحرير والاستبرق فألبسنا وليلة القدر وحج بيتك الحرام وقتلا في سبيلك فوفق لنا وصالح الدعاء والمسألة فاستجب لنا وإذا جمعت الأولين والآخرين يوم القيامة فارحمنا وبراءة من النار فاكتب لنا وفي جهنم فلا تغلنا وفي عذابك وهوانك فلا تبتلنا ومن الزقوم والضريع فلا تطعمنا ومع الشياطين فلا تجعلنا وفي النار على وجوهنا فلا تكببنا ومن ثياب النار وسرابيل القطران فلا تلبسنا ومن كل سوء يا لا إله إلا أنت بحق لا إله إلا أنت فنجنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان أو يطلع الفجر من ليلتي هذه ولك قبلي تبعة أو ذنب تعذبني عليه. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
Respected ulama, dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. During these nights, we continue to commemorate the shahadat of our beloved Imam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Hazrat Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Tonight, I have selected a rubai in the praise of Imam Ali, his character, his kirdar, that may Allah give all tawfiq to inshallah follow that. I really like this poetry, and I've recited that a few times. Inshallah, I'll recite that, followed by a short salam, inshallah. Recite another loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. दोस्तों पादाए उल्फत के طلبگار بنو، بزم میں پھول تو میدان میں تلوار بنو، بحر حق سیسا پلائی ہوئی دیوار بنو، زندہ رہنا ہے تو پھر صاحب کردار بنو، کامیابی کا سبب درہم و دینار نہیں، کامیابی کا سبب درہم و دینار نہیں، اسلحہ قوم کا کردار ہے تلوار نہیں، آدمی صاحب کردار اگر ہو جائے، سنگریزوں کو اٹھا لے تو گوہر ہو جائے، ظلمت شب سے جو کہہ دے تو سحر ہو جائے، گر ہو در بند تو دیوار میں در ہو جائے، گر ہو در بند تو دیوار میں در ہو جائے، کام کردار سے جب اہل وفا لیتے ہیں، کام کردار سے جب اہل وفا لیتے ہیں، انگلیوں سے درے خیبر کو اٹھا لیتے ہیں، انگلیوں سے درے خیبر کو اٹھا لیتے ہیں، دوستوں بعد آئے الفت کے طلبگار بنو، پر محمد و آل محمد صلوات، اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد وجل فرجہ۔ رسائل سورہ فاتحہ۔ اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد، بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم، الحمدللہ اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد وجل فرجہ۔ ہو گئی یا حبے پدر زینب، ہو گئی یا حبے پدر زینب، کم ہے اب روئے جس قدر زینب، ہو گئی آب پدر زینب، آج ہے فرش غم میں اہل عزا، آج ہے فرش غم پہ ہل رہا ہے مزار روتی ہے، ہل رہا ہے مزار روتی ہے، ماں کی تربت پہ کھولے سر زینب ہو گئی آب پدر، زینب روک لے آنسوؤں کو اپنے ذرا، اب تو رونا ہے عمر بھر، زینب ہو گئی آب پدر، زینب ابتدا ہے ابھی تو کوفے میں، ابتدا ہے ابھی تو کوفے میں، تجھ کو ہونا ہے در بدر، زینب ہو گئی بے پدر، زینب مجمع عام ہوگا گلیوں میں، مجمع عام ہوگا گلیوں میں، اور ہوگی برہنہ سر، زینب ہو گئی آب پدر، زینب ہو گئی آب پدر، زینب کرتے ہیں جس طرح یتیم بسر، کرتے ہیں جس طرح یتیم بسر، اب کرو عمر یوں بسر، زینب ہو گئی آب پدر، زینب ہو گئی آب پدر، زینب رونقیں اٹھ رہی ہے دنیا کی، رونقیں اٹھ رہی ہے دنیا کی، جا رہا ہے تیرا پدر، زینب ہو گئی آب پدر، زینب محمد والے محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم. Recite another loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. Brothers and sisters, tonight, before Moulana's speech, we have a short presentation by Is Hussain organization. So please welcome them with a very loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Wali, and as you may know, I am part of the local Is Hussain Chicago chapter. Is Hussain is a not-for-profit that serves people in the name of Imam Hussain. So today, we're going to talk about some of the things that we've done in response to COVID-19 and some of the things that we're going to do in response to COVID-19. As you may all know, COVID-19 has turned the world upside down. Therefore, here are some of the things that we've done. So to take a step back, our organizational goal is to make Hussain synonymous with goodness. And to do that, we basically think this current crisis is a great opportunity. It is a very dangerous crisis, but it is a great opportunity to do good work. We have come up with two main programs during this crisis. The first program is related to dry groceries. People are hurting. People are hurting in the city and in most of the cities in the United States, but particularly in the city of Chicago. And what we've done is we've partnered up with existing local pantries in Chicago. So the way we work is we call a pantry, we ask them that, hey, are you struggling? And they say, we need, let's say, 200 boxes of cereals or 500 jars of peanut butter. This way we're able to support these pantries who have been serving people for years and years and years. So far we've worked with about 3 to 4 pantries in the city of Chicago, and we've served about more than 125 families on an estimate. We hope we can continue to do this. We think this is going to carry on for another 6 months, at least another 6 months, as the economy has taken a toll and people are jobless, people have lost their job, people have been furloughed. So we are trying to basically help them through dry groceries. So this is the first initiative that we've worked on, and we're constantly working on this. The second initiative is distribution of masks. As you may all know, Governor J.B. Pritzker's law or rule that went live on May the 1st, where every person has to wear a mask. As a response to that rule, we partnered up with some of the local physicians in Chicago and distributed about 13,000 to 15,000 masks on May 2nd and May 9th. So between these two dates, we passed out about 13 to 15,000 masks to the general public, to the common man. We partnered up with local physicians, some corporate sponsors, and the 4th Ward Alderman Sophia King. Fortunately, we got some media coverage for this effort, and we'd like to share that with you over here. So this is news coverage from Fox TV.
By Illinois law went out in public today. The organization Is Hussain teamed up with 4th Ward Alderman Sophia King and other local leaders to hand out masks. A total of 3,000 face masks and gloves were given out to community members.
That was the coverage from Fox News. Besides that, WBBM 780 also covered us. They did an article, and here is the airing that they did.
Chicago nonprofits teamed up with the 4th Ward Alderman, Sophia, and some local businesses to lend a hand to the COVID-19 relief effort.
With face masks required across the state, the nonprofit group Is Hussain decided to hand out masks to people, not hospitals, as president of the Chicago chapter, Wali Rizvi.
Hospitals are going to get the masks. They're getting masks in the millions. But it is the common man on the street that is finding it difficult to get the mask.
Thanks to private donations and connections to a PPE factory in China, they handed out 5,000 masks and 2,500 sets of gloves to people in Hyde Park in about 80 minutes. Now Rizvi says they're looking to distribute even more, and if there are better ways to do it. Nancy Hardy, News Radio 105.9 FM.
So the point of sharing these coverages was that the crisis is bad, and the needs during this crisis are going to change. Some of the work we did got appreciated or got recognized by the local media. What we want to do in future is address the needs as they come through. This is a deadly crisis, and we want to be out there. We want to be out there in front of the local aldermen, in front of the local not-for-profits, and address the needs as they come through. So for that matter, I would ask all of you to follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. That's step number one. Step number two, we need different sort of helps. We need people to volunteer in different sorts of capacities. Volunteering could be picking up food and dropping it off at a pantry. Volunteering could be distributing masks or some other things as well. So we need volunteers and we need other sorts of help as well. We would really like to connect with all of you in this moment of crisis. Our email address is on the screen. It is as simple as chicago@whoishussain.org. With that said, I would like to thank all of you. Whatever our team, our organization has been able to do is because of your support, is because of your moral, financial, volunteer, and spiritual support. Without you, we would not be able to do anything. With that said, we hope we can rise to the occasion during this crisis. Thank you very much. Wassalam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابها. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, tonight in this final Majlis of the series of 4 Majalis, we are sitting and mourning for a man who was the best man in the Ummah of Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. In Ummat Muhammad, the best follower, the best companion, and the best member of Ahlul Bayt, and the best husband and best father, best teacher, and best leader. So, from any angle you look at his life, he is the best. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, as he was given one mu'jiza as Quran, his other mu'jiza was Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Matter of fact, his entire Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wassalam were a mu'jiza. And among them, of course, Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam is the manifestation of that miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we look at the life of Imam Ali and we want to talk about him, my brothers and sisters, it is as if we take just one ordinary camera and we want to take a picture of the entire sky with one shot or with one camera. And we want to take the picture of entire sky of this world. And you know that it is impossible. That how this one little camera and this one shot is going to take the picture of this whole sky. Similarly, whenever we speak about the life of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, we feel totally unable. And we just look around and talk about a few features of his life or few areas of his life. But we are never able to discuss his life in a complete life and from every angle. We cannot talk about his life in its entirety. For our own convenience, if we want to look at his life, so what we do, we divide his life into different phases. And then when we divide his life into different phases, it becomes little easy for us to look at least some portions of his life without just looking at the whole and entire life of Amirul Mu'mineen, because then you can't see anything. It is just like as you come across with a light, a floodlight or a very strong light, if somebody puts in your eyes and you can't see anything, the life of Ali is like that. That if you want to look at it in its entirety, then you can't see anything. So we divide the life of Amirul Mu'mineen into different phases. And then, since this is a concluding majlis, I won't have time to get into all those phases and explain the details, but I'm just giving you a way to study for yourself, that if you want to get more familiar with the life of Amirul Mu'mineen, and if you want to study and do some research on the life and the legacy of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, then you may use this technique to divide his life into different phases and different areas. And then you look in those phases and on those areas, and in that way you may be able to get some better understanding. So when we say that we divide his life into different phases, of course the first phase of his blessed life which begins with his birth at the house of Allah, Ka'batullah, and then it is up to the age 10, yani the time of Bi'that Nabawi, when the Prophet announced his prophetic mission. From Wiladat, from birth of Amirul Mu'mineen until the announcement of Rasulullah about his Risalat. This is one phase of Ali's life, which is approximately 10 years. And this 10 years is also very interesting to study. And you will be amazed even to see Ali in these first 10 years of his age. He will be totally different than any other child or than any other boy of that age. His second phase of life begins from the bi'that of Rasulullah, or the announcement of the messengerhood of Rasulullah, till the migration to Medina. And that is approximately of 13 years. So that phase is of 13 years, and this is also these 13 years Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam was very busy helping the Prophet and helping the mission of Prophet and taking care of so many tasks and so many jobs. These 13 years in Makkah. Then the third phase of his life is from this migration till the death of Prophet. That is for 10 years. In those 10 years, again, Ali is everywhere. You will see his major role in preparing this opportunity of hijrat for Rasulullah by sleeping in the danger zone on the bed of Prophet, and then bringing the family of Prophet to Medina and distributing all those amanat and all those trusts which were in the custody of Rasulullah, and giving back to their owners, and then coming to join the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then for 10 years in Medina, you will see Ali as a right hand of Rasulullah and wearing so many hats. And that is very interesting phase of the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Then the fourth phase of his life is from the demise of Prophet, from the death of Prophet, until he practically takes the government in his hand. Meaning, after the death of Prophet, during the time of Abu Bakr and during the time of Umar and during the time of Uthman, and all together, this is 25 years. The life of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam in this 25 years. And then, of course, 4 years and a half, that is the fifth phase of his life, when Amir al-Mu'mineen is practically running the affairs and the government of that Muslim empire or Muslim state. These were the 5 phases of the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And all these 5 phases, again, you will see Amir al-Mu'mineen as a child, as a youth, and then as adult, and then as an old man. In all these phases, he has the same goal, he has the same mission, he has the same target, he has the same direction, and he has the same resolve, and he has the same commitment. And basically, if we want to see what was his first priority in his life, what was most near to his heart and dear to his heart, and what was the utmost priority in the life of Ali from his childhood until the time of his shahadat, we will see that topmost priority of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam is Allah and the messenger of Allah. Allah and the messenger of Allah and the deen of Allah. Ali's life and his topmost priority in his life is to serve Allah and to please Allah, and to serve Rasulullah and to please Rasulullah, and to serve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to establish the deen of Allah, to explain the deen of Allah, to teach the deen of Allah, to preach the deen of Allah, and to protect and preserve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is all about the life mission and the life story of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. My brothers and sisters, Ali gave his childhood to this movement, and then he gave to his youth age to the deen and to the service of deen. Ali never enjoyed his childhood in those things which normally children enjoy. Ali never engaged in those activities which normally youth engage in their youth age. As a child and then as a youth, he is part of a movement, he is part of a service, he is a part of a mission, and he gives even his childhood and his youth age, and then later on his old age and his everything what he had, his mal, his business, his land, his livelihood, even his life and his family's lives. If you look at the history of Islam, I'm saying that as a student of history with a great confidence and with full certainty that in entire history of Islam, no other family has given that much shaheed and that much blood to serve and protect and preserve Islam other than the family of Prophet and the family of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, which is basically Bani Hashim. The family of Abdul Muttalib and family of Abu Talib. You begin from the Badr and then come all the way until last battle of Islam, which is Hunain or Tabuk. And then from there, after the death of Prophet, you see what happened with the family of Prophet, what happened with the daughter of Prophet, the wife of Ali. Then what happens with Ali himself and with his brothers and with his nephews and with his followers. And then from there you see what happened with Hassan and what happens with Hussain in Karbala. And then from there all the way in 1400 years until today, I think this is the only family that whose Mukhtar has been written in the history. We don't have any other Mukhtar in the Muslim history that which is about any other family. We have a book, Maqatilut Talibiyin. It's a Mukhtar which is about the children of Abu Talib, the offspring of Abu Talib, the Al and Aulad of Abu Talib. For generations and generations and generations, they have the history of persecution. So all of them are either uncles of Ali, either brothers of Ali, either sons of Ali, either nephews of Ali, either the grandchildren of Ali, either the great-grandchildren of Ali, either they are the nasl and the dhurriyat and the family of Ali, or the followers of Ali. And this has not stopped even today, in this day and age. Sepah-e Sahaba, Lashkar-e Jhangvi, Al-Qaeda, Daesh, and so many other these organizations, they are continuing the same mission against Awlad-e Abu Talib, against Awlad-e Ali, against the children of Ali, against the family of Ali. Sometime in Hazaras in Quetta, sometime in Sindh and Karachi, sometime it is in Punjab, sometime it is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, sometime it is in Afghanistan, sometime it is in Iraq, sometime it is in Yemen, sometime it is in Bahrain, sometime it is in Saudi Arabia, sometime it is in Syria. Wherever you see, these are the children of Ali, these are the sons of Ali, these are the followers of Ali, this is the community of Ali, and these are the children of Abu Talib, and they are the followers of this family of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, who have been persecuted for 1400 years, and they are being persecuted even today. So Ali has a huge contribution, and he made his contribution not only his own time, but he is making that contribution until today. So that is one aspect of his life, my brothers and sisters, that the first priority and the topmost priority for Ali was Allah and the Rasul of Allah and the book of Allah and the deen of Allah. And Ali gave everything to serve and to protect and to preserve this deen. The second area of Ali's life, very quickly I am trying to conclude the subject today. We see there are 6 areas where we can see that the efforts of Amirul Mu'mineen, the teachings of Amirul Mu'mineen, the actions of Amirul Mu'mineen, the struggle of Amirul Mu'mineen, we can say that which was focused on these 6 areas. And these are the 6 areas where bulk of his efforts, the major focus of Amirul Mu'mineen was on these 6 areas. And these 6 areas or the legacy of Amirul Mu'mineen, which we need to understand, and then we need to cherish it, we need to honor it, we need to then enjoy it, we need to protect it, we need to preserve it, and then we need to pass it on to our next generations as the legacy of Ali. And these 6 things which we are talking about, the first one, of course, was his first priority. That his first priority was Allah and Rasulullah and the deen of Allah. That was the first. The second one, which was his most important priority, that was knowledge, that was education. Ali was the center of knowledge and scholarship after Rasulullah. As Prophet says, Ana Madinatul Ilm, I am city of knowledge, and Ali is the gate of that big city of knowledge. If you trace any of Islamic sciences, any of Islamic sciences. I don't have time now to name those sciences. You take any Islamic science and you trace its roots, and you will see it will go to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib is the fountainhead. He is the teacher of teachers. He is the instructor of all those instructors. He is the founder of all those founders. And he spent his life learning from Rasulullah, learning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then spreading that knowledge in the companions of Rasulullah and in his own companions and in his family and in his children. And this is his legacy. So my brothers and sisters, as his followers, as his Shias, we need to understand that the legacy of Ali is education. And our bulk focus should be on education. We should spend our resources, our money, our time, and the best of our resources on education of our children and on education of our community. Number two, Ali was not only a man of knowledge, Ali was a man of action. As he is a man that who is a scholar. Scholar is too little word for Ali, basically, but I don't find a better word here in front of me. Otherwise, this word scholar is very tiny and little word to use for Ali. But if Ali is alim, he is not only an alim who preaches, and then that's it. His job is only to sit in the masjid or in a hawza or in a school or a university and only teach. Ali was a teacher, Ali was instructor, Ali was alim, but then Ali was a man of action. He was an activist. He was a man that who was not only an intellectual, but then he was activist also. He was man of field. He was man of action. And as his knowledge was not only about deen, his knowledge was about everything. His action was also not only the salat and zakat and saum and hajj, the worship. His action was also about every area of the society. He engaged in every area of life, and he demonstrated some best examples in different areas of life. Number 4, my brothers and sisters, Ali's focus was, as he focused on education, as he focused on amal, when he focused on amal, then in amal, his special focus was on taqwa. Because sometimes when people get into the action, they forget taqwa. When they get engaged with society, when they get engaged in business, when they get engaged in government, when they get engaged with the community or society at large, when they become part of government or those NGOs, then they forget taqwa. Amirul Mu'mineen is the only man in the history of Islam that who produced that masterpiece on the subject of taqwa, his khutbah fi sifatil muttaqeen. You can open any Islamic book written by any scholar or sermon or khutbah of any companion, you will not find a masterpiece like the masterpiece which Ali had. This is a khutbah of Ali. And Ali, in that khutbah, it is in Nahjul Balagha, he counted 105 qualities of muttaqeen. My brothers and sisters, see how detail-oriented Ali is. How deep he looks at things. And how these small and these very delicate details Ali ibn Abi Talib brings to highlight. He counts 105 qualities for a muttaqi person. Look in Nahjul Balagha in that khutbah fi sifatil muttaqin. Number 5. Amirul Mu'mineen, he was a man of zuhud and moderation. Many of companions of Rasulullah, after his death, they went either to one extreme or to the other extreme. Some of the senior companions became very big landlords. They accumulated so many lands in Iraq and in Syria, and they had huge big businesses. And they accumulated so much slaves and slave girls and cattle and animals and gold and silver that they became the most wealthy people in the society. And those were companions. Like this Talha and Zubair and Amr As and Muawiyah and many others. And then there were a few who went to the other extreme and they totally withdrew themselves from dunya and became monks. But Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam comes and he demonstrates the moderation. He is Zahid, but he didn't withdraw himself totally from dunya. He engaged in business. He engaged in farming. He engaged in the lively matters of life, but only to the extent which was needed for him and for his family to support, and not more than that. Then rest of the time he spent in the establishing the community and serving the community. Rest of his time went into the volunteering for the services of Allah, serving Allah and His deen and serving the Prophet and his deen and serving the society and serving the community. And number 6, my brothers and sisters, the area of focus of Ali, that was the justice. Ali was man of justice. He was known for justice. He spoke for justice. He fought for justice. And he gave sacrifices for justice. Unfortunately, Muslim Ummah has taken somebody else as their hero for justice and adl and adalat. But they don't know that the real champion of justice in Islam is Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And I wish if I had time, I would expand on that and I would bring some references and proofs on my claim. But maybe sometime, inshallah, in the future. So my brothers and sisters, these are the 6 areas of the life of Ali. We can say that the concentration of Ali, the focus of Ali, his major contribution, and those 6 things which are very near and dear to Ali, those are these 6. The topmost priorities of his life, Allah and his Rasul and Deen, that is number 1. Number 2, education. Number 3, action, amal. Number 4, taqwa. Number 5, moderation. Number 6, justice. And my brothers and sisters, as a community, we need to cherish these 6 areas in our personal life, in our family life. We should make a resolution for ourselves tonight We should make our mission statement for our life that I will focus on these 6 areas. And I will make sure that bulk of my time, bulk of my effort, bulk of my resources, bulk of my contribution, and bulk of my lifetime will go into these 6 areas. In order to share with you at least one quote, I was planning to share with you his last will, which he made on his deathbed, but that is a little longer, but I can just say a few lines from there and you can understand again. A man that who is injured, first of all, he is an old man. He was fasting from the month of Rajab. Then he fasted the entire month of Sha'ban. And then he is fasting in the month of Ramadan up to that 19th day. So 30 days or 29 days of Rajab, 29 or 30 days of Sha'ban, and then 19 days of Rajab, 19 days of Ramadan. So for 2 months and almost 20 days he has been fasting regularly in consecutive manner. An old man. And then he is injured. And his injury is from the sword which was kind of mixed with the poison. The poison was given to this sword in such a way, there was a method in that time that they would put this poison to the sword, that this poison enters in the sword when you hit, so the poison also gets into the wound. So he has injury and then there is a poison in his body and he is in a great pain. According to Shaheed Mutahari, when we counted those 5 phases of his life, he was used to say that Ali has a 6th phase of his life also. And he was used to say that his 6th phase of life was of those 45 hours which he spent on deathbed. From the Fajr of 19th of Ramadan until the midnight of 21st of Ramadan, approximately 45 hours. For those 45 hours, if you observe the life of Ali, you can understand what are the priorities in the life of Ali. You can see what was the focus of the life of Ali. In these 45 hours, Ali again and again, he is making wasiyat and advice to his children, to his sons, to his daughters, to his grandchildren, to his followers, to his community about deen and community, deen and community, deen and community. I don't have time to read this whole thing, but a few lines I will read for you. Amirul Mu'mineen, when he was told that, Ya Ali, no, you don't have much time, and if you have any wasiyat, you can make wasiyat. He makes a final wasiyat, and he speaks to his 2 sons, Hassan and Hussain, to whom he always considered the sons of Rasulullah. And that is why he had made a special category for them in his sons. Ali had 18 sons, but his 16 sons were in one category, and only Hassan and Hussain, they were in a special and a different category. And Ali was used to treat them not as his sons, he was used to treat them as sons of Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That is why every time he would put them on top of everything. He speaks to both of them and then he says, Usikuma bi taqwallah. I advise you both for taqwa ilahi wa an la tabghiya dunya wa in baghatkuma, and never go after this dunya. And Ali when says never go after dunya, he means he never get obsessed with dunya, never become the fan of dunya, never become someone that who spends all his time and his every effort only for dunya. وَلَا تَأْسَفَ عَلَى شَيْءٍ مِّنْهَا زُوِيَ عَنْكُمَا. And if, because you are men of this family which stands and takes the stands, you are a man that you both of you represent deen and the movement of deen. So you will be deprived because of your stands, because of your positions. So in society you will be deprived from so many privileges, from so many benefits. But let it be, and never feel sorry for that. Sometimes we Muslims start feeling kind of sorry and start making complaints that, oh, because of this discrimination, because I wear hijab, because I'm a practicing Muslim, I was deprived of this or I was deprived of that. Take pride that you are in the camp of Allah, you are on the side of Allah, and you have been deprived from some privilege just because you are a practicing Muslim. Take pride in it instead of feeling sorry and feeling sad about it. Ali is preparing his sons ahead of time. He says, because you are my sons, because you are sons of Rasulullah, see what happened to me. See what happened to your father. See what happened to your mother. Same is going to happen to you, because you are going to carry my legacy. You are going to carry the legacy of your mother and your grandfather. And you will be deprived from so many positions in society and from so many privileges in the society. But let it be. Never feel sorry for that. وَقُولَا بِالْحَقِّ. And whenever you speak, speak bil-haq. Always speak haq, the truth. Never censor the truth. Never zip your mouth from uttering the haq. If it is haq, say it. وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. And whatever you do for getting or for receiving the sawab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not from the people, not in this dunya from others. وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. Whatever good you do, whatever contribution you make, whatever service you provide, wherever you volunteer, wherever you do anything, none of that should be for recognition or acknowledgement or for praise or for any for ajr and sawab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَكُونَا لِلظَّالِمِ خَصْمًا وَلِلْمَظْلُومِ عَوْنًا. This is the golden line which only Ali wrote. With challenge I am saying, go and open all the Islamic books from Sahih Bukhari to Bahishti Zevar, and open every book of any book and written by any Muslim scholar or by any senior personality from Sadr Islam. If you can show me one line like this which Ali produced on deathbed when he is in pain and he is suffering from pain and he is weak and he is dying, but Ali says to his sons, وَكُونَا لِلظَّالِمِ خَصْمًا وَلِلْمَظْلُومِ عَوْنًا. both of you should always be an opponent for oppressor and be a support and ally for the oppressed one. Who has produced such a line? Who has said such a thing? This is again the honor of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. This is the legacy of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And then Amirul Mu'mineen made wasiyats of all those major Islamic practices and major Islamic worships. Salat, Zakat, Hajj, Amr bil Maruf, Nahi anil Munkar, Jihad, Quran, and Silatul Rahim. All these things Amirul Mu'mineen brings in his wasiyat. But then Ali is man of justice. Ali doesn't only preach justice, Ali practices justice. Ali says, Ya Bani Abdul Muttalib, O the children and the grandchildren of Abdul Muttalib, meaning his children and his family. He was speaking to them as those great grandchildren of Abdul Muttalib. I don't want to see that after my death you start shedding the blood of Muslims in my name, that because Ali was martyred, now we can justify taking the sword out and going and killing everyone just because he had hand in it, he had hand in it, or he had hand in it. We saw after 9/11 what happens in this country which preaches the rights and the human rights and the champions of the rights and the champions of democracy and champions of everything. And then something what happens in New York that gives them the justification to go all around the world and start waging the wars and killing the innocent people everywhere, whether they had hand in it, whether they didn't have hand in it. And then we take them as our model, as role model for the democracy and the role model for rights and role models for this and role models for that. If you are looking for a role model for justice and rights, look at Ali. Ali says, Allah la taqtulun nabi illa qatili. No one should be killed because of my murder or because of my qatl or because of my shahadat, except only my qatil, that one person. Ali knows there were people behind. It was not only one man, but Ali is man of justice. Ali says, Allah la taqtulun nabi illa qatili. Only one man should be killed, who has killed me and nothing else. Unzuru idha ana muttu min darbatihi hadhihi. Wait until I die because of this stroke of his sword. Fadribuhu darbatan bi darbatin. But when I pass away, when I die because of that strike, because of that stroke of his sword, then darbatan bi darbatin. He struck once, you also kill him with one stroke, not two, because he used one stroke. You are also entitled to have one stroke against him. That is the role model for justice, my brothers and sisters. That even at his deathbed, for his own life, he is telling his family, he is teaching his family that you cannot justify the blood of innocent people in my name. And then he says, وَلَا يُمَثَّلُ بِالرَّجُلِ فَإِنِّي سَمِعْتُ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ يَقُولُ إِيَّاكُمْ وَالْمُثْلَ وَلَوْ بِالْقَلْبِ الْعَقُورِ. He say, and never ever cut his body into the pieces. Never ever cut his body into the pieces. Don't do that, because I heard from the messenger of Allah that don't cut even the body of dog, even if it is a mad dog, into the pieces. Don't do that. Just qasas. That who can have control of his emotions, his anger, and who can do that justice even with his qatil, with his murderer. Ali is the one that who is doing adl and insaf even with his qatil on the deathbed, my brothers and sisters. And that is why Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, he was someone that who had the best and the loyal friends, and he had the worst enemies. Such personalities that who take stand and who speak for justice, who live for justice, and who don't make any difference when it comes to deal with people or different tribes or seniors or juniors or rich or poor, then these kind of people, as they have some fans and very loyal and loving fans, they have also some very worst enemies and very committed enemies. And Ali was one of those people that who had the best friends and who had the worst enemies. That is the life of Ali. We see when Ali's this news of the when this news came out in the Kufa that Ali is on deathbed and he is injured, and his doctor told him to drink the milk. Somehow this news goes out, and in the city of Kufa there were hundreds of women and hundreds of men and hundreds of children, and everyone was bringing the milk to the door of Ali, and everyone wants to ask family of Ali to give Ali this milk which I have brought. Ali had those lovers and those fans in the Kufa too. A riwayat we have that there was a woman that who was used to sell milk and then provide the livelihood to his children. Her children were yatim, and she was beva, she was a widow. Even Imam Hassan-e-Mujtaba saw that woman bringing milk. Hassan-e-Mujtaba looked at her and said that everybody has brought so much milk, why did you bring? You were supposed to sell it to bring the bread for your children. And she says that when my children heard that Ali needs milk and it's good for Ali to drink the milk, my children came to me and they said, "Oh mother, we don't want to eat today. You don't go and buy any bread for us. Just take this milk to the house of Ali and offer this milk on our behalf to our Maula, to our Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam." And there are so many stories of that kind, my brothers and sisters. Imam Hassan-e-Mujtaba, when he, with the help of some other few family members, when he buried Imam Ali at the place now where his tomb is, at that time it was just a virana, but now alhamdulillah it is a big city, Najaf. When he was coming back, he heard somebody in darkness. He felt that as he is speaking to himself. Imam Hassan-e-Mujtaba thought that maybe there is somebody he needs help. So he goes there searching for that man, and when he goes closer, he sees there is an elderly man that who is handicapped, and he is sick. And he is it looks like he is hungry and thirsty and he is in pain and he needs some attention. Imam Hassan Mujtaba, he goes there and he says, Assalamu alayka ya Abdullah. My salam to be, O man of Allah, O servant of Allah. When Imam said salam to him, this old man who was in pain and who was in hungry and thirsty, he says, how should I say this jawab of your salam, that you have abandoned me? You didn't come back to me. You were used to bring everyday food for me. This is third day that you have not brought any food for me. I am hungry, I am thirsty. Imam Hassan Mujtaba speaks to that man and he says, Ya Abd Khuda, मैं तो इससे पहले यहाँ कभी नहीं आया था. मैं तो आज पहली मर्तबा आया हूँ और पहली मर्तबा तुम्हें देख रहा हूँ, तो मुझे ये कैसे कह रहे हो? कहा एक मर्द खुदा था जिसकी आवाज बिल्कुल ऐसी ही थी जैसे तुम्हारी है. वो बोलता भी ऐसे ही था जैसे तुम बोलते हो, लेकिन वो मेरे लिए खाना लाता था, वो मेरे लिए पानी लाता था, फिर वो मुझे खिला पिला के मुझे मेरे जिस्म की मालिश करता था, वो मेरे साथ बैठ के गुफ्तगू करता था. मगर आज तीसरा दिन है, वो मुझे छोड़ गया है, वो कहीं दोबारा पलट के नहीं आया, वो जैसे मुझे भूल गया हो. बस उसका ये कहना था. हसन मुजतबा की चीख निकली और कहने लगे, ओ मर्द खुदा, वो अमीरुल मोमिनीन अली इब्न अबी तालिब मेरे पापा थे जिनको इस उम्मत ने शहीद कर दिया है और वो शहीद हो गए और मैं उनको दफन करके वापस आ रहा हूँ. और मैंने तेरी आवाज सुनी तो मैं पलट के तेरे पास चला आया. ये सुनना था. वो माजूर था, वो अंधा था, लेकिन एक मर्तबा उठ के उसने हसन मुजतबा को गले से लगा लिया और कहा कि बताओ, जब मेरा मोहसिन दुनिया में न रहा, जब अली जैसा मोहसिन न रहा, तो बताओ इस दुनिया में मेरे जीने का अब क्या फायदा? अला लअनतुल्लाहि अला कौमिज़ ज़ालिमीन व सयअलमुल लज़ीना ज़लमू अय्य मुनक़लबिन यनक़लिबून. परवरदिगार हमारी इस खालिस इबादत को कबूल व मंजूर फरमा. Brothers and sisters, this Majlis was sponsored by the Jafri sisters and Samreen Ali Yar. For sehat and salamti of all these sisters, their families and the family of Samreen Ali Yar, kindly recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And both these Jafri sisters and Samreen Ali Yar have requested for a Surah Fatiha for Sayyid Hussain Jafri, Anzar Fatima, Mumtaz Begum, Rifat Safdar and Bakhtiyar Hussain. Kindly recite a Surah Mubarakah Fatiha for their Isale Sawab, Masbukatan bis Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim.
Ya Ali Maula Haidar Maula, Ya Ali Maula Haidar Maula, Ya Ali Maula Haidar Maula. Hai Ali qatl ho gaye, Hai Ali qatl ho gaye. Jibreel de rahe the nida ke ghazab hua, حیدر کو قتل خانہ خالق میں کر دیا. ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے, ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے. شہزادیوں نے جو یہ سنی غم کی یہ صدا، بے تاب ہو کے روئی اور حسنین سے کہا، مسجد میں جا کے دیکھو ذرا کیا ہے ماجرا، یہ کون کہہ رہا ہے ہوئے قتل مرتضیٰ، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ضرب لئی سے ہو گیا جس دم دو پارا سر، اس دم علم سے ہلتے تھے مسجد کے بام و در، بہراب اور مسلح ہوا سارا خون میں تر، کانپا فلک تو زلزلہ آیا زمین پر، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، دوڑے یہ سنتے ہی سوئے مسجد حسن حسین، دیکھا نمازی کرتے ہیں نالا بے شور و شین، اپنے لہو میں لوٹتے ہیں شاہ مشرقین، پایا پدر کو ایسے کیے دونوں نے یہ بین، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، یہاں ہو رہی تھی سینہ زنی نالا و بکا، آئی کہیں قریب سے فضا کی یہ صدا، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کو نہیں یار ضبط کا، بے چین ہے وہ دیکھنے کو حال مرتضیٰ، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، ہائے علی قتل ہو گئے، یا علی مولا حیدر مولا، یا علی مولا حیدر مولا، یا علی مولا حیدر مولا۔